Hey guys, Puritan Piper here again. It is a balmy Thursday evening and I'm in the garage as usual, sitting in my comfy chair, got my fire rolling, and I've got a package to open with you guys. I decided to make this video doing a box opening. I got something special in the mail today and wanted to have you guys join me in seeing what I got. So, what's in the brown box? Well, let's just say I've got to keep my name, Puritan Piper, still going. So figured it was time to get some tobacco and some pipe tobacco, which is rare. As you guys know, I have transitioned much more to liking cigars, but once in a while I need to keep the pipe going, and something special came out recently in the tobacco realm, so I decided to get something. So got this package from Pipes and Cigars. So I just got this in today, and let's see what I got. That's all the wrapping there is, not great wrapping. And here it is. Boom. Plum Pudding Barrel Reserve. Look at that. Bourbon Barrel Reserve. Bourbon Barrel Aged. Each time I was wrong. So this is Seattle Pipe Club, and this is a new one they came out with. I am a big fan of plum pudding. I've done a review previously on plum pudding and decided when I saw this came out very recently, it still says new on their page as of January 2020, but I found this and I decided, hey, let's go for it. So I got two of them, of course. Got to buy one and then age one. So I'll throw one in my cellar, and then I'm going to open a tin tonight and try it with you guys. See what my initial thoughts are, my initial tasting ideas are. So let's read the description. We'll open up a box, open up a tin rather, and then give you some initial thoughts. So again, Seattle Pipe Club Plum Pudding, and they're bourbon barrel aged. I really this is the normal plum pudding, this is the special reserve. So they've got a normal plum pudding, they have a special reserve, which I really like the special reserve, and then now the newest plum pudding, which is the bourbon barrel aged. Let's read the description on it, and then we'll get into opening and trying it out. Plum pudding bourbon barrel aged. How to improve upon perfection. Sipping his favorite bourbon gave master blender Joe Langford an idea. World famous original plum pudding packed into charred oak Kentucky bourbon barrels, aged 30 days, pressed into cakes, and crumble cake cut. The result? Heavenly marriage of spirits and the best Balkan blend ever made. A chunk of bourbon barrel rests in every tin. Sweet. Complex, smoky, spicy, and still positively addictive. Plum pudding bourbon barrel aged is Joe's dream come true. Enjoy the ingredients. So this is what makes up this tobacco. Latakia, Turkish Orientals, Virginias, Cavendish, and Perique. So it is a bourbon barrel aged blend. Let's open it up, see what our initial thoughts are. We'll smell it, and then we'll pack it into, I've got with me, here it is, my Savinelli. This is my poker, really cool briar. Got this at a local briar shop that was going out of business a little bit over a year ago, and got like a 50% off deal, so I had to go with that. I really enjoy Savinelli. I've got their Bing's Favorite. It's one of my first videos I put on here, pipe related, and I love the Bing's Favorite, and that's a Savinelli as well. This is a shorter poker, but has a great draw, doesn't get too hot, and it's a great pipe. So we're going to smoke this brand new tin of tobacco out of my Savinelli plum pudding bourbon barrel aged. Ooh, it's a good sound. All right, so this is, let's see if it gives me the amount. I think there's 2 ounces. I could be wrong. Doesn't say on here. I believe it's 2 ounces, maybe 4 ounces, but I believe it's 2. Whew, wow. All right. So, probably hard to see this. It's that thin cakes, as is usual for the plum pudding. Nice, thick cut cakes. It's got that little barrel stave in it. Smells like whiskey, like bourbon, but not overpowering. You can see it's got the char on that. Hopefully you can see that come through in the camera, but not a ton of tobacco in there, and so that's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. It's kind of a special one. I think it's probably 2 ounces, and not a ton of bourbon. Maybe a little bit of sweetness that I'm getting. I mean, the Latakia is very forward on this, and I think that really is what I'm smelling, very pungent. But maybe a small amount of bourbon. But what I've read in a couple of reviews I've seen, very minimal reviews, is still very new tobacco, is that the bourbon isn't super strong. It doesn't really overpower, which is good, because just like certain things like sherry in a Scotch is something I talked about in my last video, not really liking something that overpowers, that distracts from the complexity and beauty of that original thing. So I'm hoping that the bourbon doesn't overpower and distract from the plum pudding, which I so love. And what's cool about it is what they say is it's only aged for 30 days. So we'll see what that consists of in the smoke. So let me be smart about this. Use the lid. Break this up a little bit. There's tons of methods people like to do. They like to break theirs up nice and fine. Due to time, I'm just gonna break mine up semi-fine. Probably still keep some good chunks in there, and just to get this thing rolling so I can try it out with you guys. So I'm interested to just see how this tobacco goes over time too. I'm gonna age this one for a while. I've got this reserved is one that hasn't been opened yet, and I've got that for a couple of years now, and I don't plan on opening it soon. I might wait several years, and I don't smoke pipes as much as I used to. I'm much more of a cigar guy, so I can hold on to pipe tobacco much longer. And this tin right here, this barrel aged one, to me I think will last a while. There's a good amount in here. So let's pack this thing and give you my initial thoughts. So any of you pipe smokers, don't judge my etiquette here. It's been a while, but we'll just get this going. I want to know if any of you have tried this. Please post a comment below. It's fairly new, and I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on this and see what you think. Maybe if you write me a comment for a trade, we'll see what we can do. I don't know what the legalities on that are, but if I know you're of age, we'll talk about it. So here we go. Got a nice pack on this. Let's put the rest in the tin. There it is. It stays on there, and let's spark it up. To me, it just smells a lot like the standard plum pudding reserve. It doesn't have, like I said, a lot of aroma of bourbon on it. That's good. Interesting. Give me a second here. First impressions. And this is very first impressions, as you guys know. I can taste the whiskey. It's very mild, but you can taste the sweetness. And maybe it's because I like Scotch, I like whiskey, and I know the certain flavors that kind of come through. To me, this has much more of a sweet whiskey flavor. My dream would be to have something like this in like a smoky Scotch barrel. That would be incredible. If anybody's making pipe tobacco out there, that would be a big sale for, I think, a lot of people, is to age tobacco in a smoky Scotch barrel. But be that as it may, it's good. It has a sweetness, and that's kind of what the plum pudding does for me. It's got a nice sweetness to it, and the Latakia is forward. It's got a nice, smoky, rich flavor that, again, I think my palate just does very well with that smokiness, given my love for smoky Scotch. But you have some of the Virginias coming through with a nice, sweet, light, grassy-like flavor. And then the whiskey, it seems like there's this underlying layer of sweet whiskey mellowness, and it's hard to describe that. If you like plum pudding original, if you like the reserve, then you're gonna like this. You're really gonna like this. To me, it's worth trying. I see myself smoking a pipe once in a while, and I think this is going to be one of my regular rotations. If I'm grabbing a pipe, I think I'm gonna grab this. And that's saying a lot. Great flavor. It'll be interesting to just see over time how this bowl changes. And obviously I'm doing this in one cut. If I were to do several cuts, I'd do the first third, maybe get into the second third of this bowl, and then toward the end to see how the complexity changes. But I don't want to spend that long with you guys, or have you be bored by the end. So overall, I am impressed with the bourbon barrel aged. I'd be interested to know what kind of bourbon. They mention Kentucky bourbon barrels, charred oak Kentucky bourbon barrels, but what kind of bourbon barrels? Be interested to know. See if anybody out there knows what kind of bourbon barrels these have been pressed into for 30 days. It's not a long time, but I think that's good. I think any longer would probably change the overall flavor of the tobacco and probably be overwhelming with a bourbon flavor. I know a lot of people do infused cigars, and then it might be more on the aromatic side of pipe tobaccos, which would be a little bit too much for me. I like much more of the natural flavors. And so enjoy this overall. I will maybe make another video talking about it, but probably not. I'll just see how this goes. Interested to know, again, the next bowl or 3 to just see what the flavor does, how it changes, and yeah, even compare it. Maybe that'll be a next endeavor, is comparing this with the reserve, comparing it with the original plum pudding, and seeing how the flavor profiles change between blends, because they're all similar, but this seems much more complex. The sweetness that really rounds it off. That, to me, it's pleasant. It's a very easy smoker, kind of like the Glenlivet 12. That's what I mentioned last time. Is the Glenlivet 12 is that really easy sipper, smooth, sweet. This to me is very similar. Not Scotch, but has that smooth flavor that rounds off any of the sharpness of the Perique, even that can be very spicy, or the Latakia, which can be very smoky. To me, the sweetness of the bourbon barrel just rounds it off, makes it easy to smoke and pleasant. So, Puritan Piper, let me know what you guys think if you've tried this. If you haven't, I'd like to hear you get some and try it. Write me, see what we can do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, give this a thumbs up, and comment. I'd like to hear you guys, what your thoughts are, and yeah, just start a conversation. So finish the rest of this, enjoy the evening with my bride, and I don't know, maybe open that Glenlivet. We'll see. So until next time, God bless.